Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. Today, we're going to be doing a breakdown. A Pokemon breakdown. So as you know, Series 8, if you didn't know, let me inform you, that Series 8 will allow you to use one restricted Pokemon. The restricted Pokemons are basically the cover legendaries, no mythics. But that means that Zacian is allowed. For those who do not know, Zacian is quite possibly the greatest Pokemon to ever existed. Banned from singles, I know, singles, like banned from singles. He's that good, he's banned from Ubers. So first things first, to understand our new adversary and potentially our new partner, we're gonna have to look at that lore, that deep, hot Pokemon lore. We're gonna take the Sword lore because he's from Sword. Right? Why would I take the Shield lore? Known as the legendary hero, this Pokemon absorbs metal particles, transforming them into a weapon it uses to battle. Basically, it absorbs metal from the air, i.e. your cell phones, maybe a GameCube controller, and he slams you with them. It's quite insane. But when he has the sword, that's the item he'll hold, the sword he has a different lore. He's now armed with the weapon it used in ancient times. This Pokemon needs only a single strike to fell even Gigantamax Pokemon. So like, I know you guys have probably complained about Gigantamax, how stupid it is. This Pokemon kills Gigantamax Pokemon. That's all you need to worry about. That's fucking sick. Like, we should use this Pokemon. So now that we have the lore, let's look at these stats. So, for the rest of the video, we're just assuming you're holding the Rusted Sword. That's the item that he's going to hold. It basically allows him to change forms. If you're not holding the Rusted Sword, yeah, dude, I don't know. You should probably just give it the Rusted Sword. That's it. Let's look at these stats. So, Zacian has a, I can't, dude. It's got 720 base stats. That's fucking insane. Why? So the HP stat is base 92, which is like pretty good. Like that's really bulky for a sweeper like grass cannon Pokemon. 170 attack. Holy shit! Why did they think this was okay? Okay, so 170 attack, that's whatever. 115 defense. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's really good defense, along with 115 special defense. This thing will not die. The speed, oh, yeah, that's right. It's faster than Dragapult. It's literally like one of the fastest Pokemon in the game with 148. This Pokemon is insane. And now you're thinking, Colin, those are just numbers. Like, how scary can it be, right? Like, how scary is this Zacian actually, right? Like, you're hyping me up, you're scaring me, but like, how strong is Zacian actually, right? And then I'm gonna take you to the ability. Intrepid Sword. You're like, Colin, what's Intrepid Sword? Who cares, right? I played the in-game. I bought Shield like a fool, but like, who cares? I beat Hop easy money, right? Intrepid Sword boosts your attack by one stage. So this Pokemon gets to come out onto the field and always have +1 attack. And you're like, well, I'll just intimidate it. Well, he just switched out and switched back in. He's +1 attack again. This Pokemon is insane. Zacian is crazy. Holy crap. And then you're like, okay. He doesn't die. He does tons of damage. But what about the typing? He's got to have some really garbage exploitable typing, right? Oh, Fairy Steel? Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh my god, he's Fairy Steel. This Pokemon literally can't die and it has amazing typing. Holy crap. And now you're saying to yourself, okay, Colin, this Pokemon seems good, but how do we beat it? So basically, to sum it up thus far, we have one of the best abilities ever for a Glass Cannon Sweeper Pokemon, who's not actually a Glass Cannon because he's super bulky. We have amazing typing, defensively, and offensively as well. It also has base 720 stats, which is like the most of any Pokemon. Like, that's crazy. Like, he basically has like barely a little under Mega Rayquaza stats, but a lot of Mega Rayquaza stats are wasted in special attack. So you're like, okay, this Pokemon is pretty insane, but he's got to have bad moves or something, right? And I'm like, well, no, he doesn't. The sword gives you a special move called Behemoth Blade, which is a 100% accurate 100 base power steel move. So he has an amazing steel move. He has access to moves like Close Combat and Play Rough and Crunch and Solar Blade and Dig and all these dumb moves that don't really matter. But it also has access to supportive moves like Sword Stance, so you can set up. You can also press Imprison so that the other Zacians don't get to play. Please don't run Imprison. I don't want to play against Imprison Zacian if I'm using Zacian. Please, no. Also, you can run Substitute, which normally is not a great move, but now, because Zacian can't max, Substitute's good. And now you're saying, okay, Colin, stop talking. You mentioned he couldn't max. How can he be good? Behemoth Blade doubles damage against max Pokemon. So this Pokemon is literally insane. All right, so let's break down a little bit. Let's slow down. We've been getting a little hyped up. We're going a little fast. But let's talk about the ability to max and not to max. So Zacian cannot max, but it does get access to Behemoth Blade, like I mentioned earlier. And I think not maxing is actually a good thing for Zacian. Well, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because if we could max, this Pokemon would be crazy. We could just like run over people, not care about anything, just max up, Steel Spike up, never die, maybe get a max Knuckle in there. So we're even stronger. But also not maxing is really cool because you can actually run moves like Imprison and Swords Dance and Substitute and not feel as bad, especially Substitute. I think Substitute Zacian is the way, and I think Substitute is such a sick move that I think for Zacian it actually, not maxing, allows players to actually use the great move that is Substitute. So I think it actually helps players because they're not going to run sub if they can max it, right? I do think if it could max, this Pokemon would be absolutely ridiculous, like even better. But I also think, you know, like, hey, we can run sub now. So he's still cool. So let's break down a standardization set that I expect to see a lot of, and I think is the best set. I think the best set is Behemoth Blade, Close Combat, Substitute, and Protect.
And you're like, but Colin, the close combat move is not actually stab, so like,
Why wouldn't you use Play Rough? And it's like, well, Play Rough's kind of worthless. I think Close Combat is way more useful. It hits the things that Steel is resisting anyways, so you get more coverage out of it. You could opt to run Play Rough over sub, in my opinion, but I think Close Combat is too important to the set and too important to Zacian. Because the Pokemon that resist Steel are going to be weak to fighting. So it's much better coverage, and I think it's just a much better move set. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. You can also run, potentially Imprison or Swords Dance or Play Rough. But I think this is the best set, and this should be the main set you try to try. Also, Wild Charge. Wild Charge is really cool because you're actually able to like hit Kyogre and stuff pretty impactfully. Now that we've, talked about Zacian and see the power of Zacian, let's talk about how to beat Zacian. So killing Zacian is no easy task, but I think there's a lot of Pokemon that can help you do it. I think Incineroar is a great Pokemon to start, and you're saying like, well, if it's running Close Combat, why would Incineroar be good? I think Intimidate is still really good, so Incineroar and Landorus help a ton in slowing down the onslaught that Zacian can cause. So I think these two Pokemon are really great, just slowing it down. And then Pokemon like Zapdos or Rotom. I think Pokemon that resist Steel but aren't weak to fighting are really good helpers to deal with Zacian as well. Because again, his main attacking move is that Behemoth Bash. So Pokemon like Regieleki or Zapdos or the Rotom forms are pretty solid. They'll still get hit by a ton by Close Combat, but they can do a lot of damage back, especially if they're Dynamaxed. I think Zacian, a lot of the time, ironically, the way to beat Zacian is probably to max versus it with a resisted Pokemon. Also, other legends like Dialga or even Kyogre, because some of the legends will max to be able to take Kyogre's Water Spout or something like that. Zacian can't do that. So if you actually have speed control and can take over the pace of the game, you'll be able to stop Zacian and be able to kill Zacian. I think speed control is a great way to do it as well. Beating Zacian is really nuanced. I don't think there's like, oh, slap this Pokemon on and you'll be able to beat Zacian. I don't think it works like that. I think it's more of, hey, you have these tools, you have a Groudon, you have a Landorus, like, you have other legends that can help contest. It's just a matter of navigating yourself into a position where they can either outspeed or survive the hit that Zacian's going to deal to you. I think there's no clear way to actually beat Zacian at the moment. I'm sure we'll see other great ways to do it. But I do think it is a more nuanced way, because even something like Ho-Oh could beat the set that I suggested. But what if the Zacian just wanted to run Wild Charge and it just killed you, right? Like, there are Pokemon that can do well versus Zacian, but sometimes just a little bit of coverage can ruin the matchup and skew it into Zacian's favor. So I think a big part of it is resisting Steel and then intimidating it. I think those are great ways to deal with it and to slow it down a little bit. Also, speed control is key. If Zacian is moving first, you're gonna find yourself probably in a lot of trouble. I think that's one of the best parts about Zacian, is that it's so speedy and so explosive that it's very hard to deal with. And also, if you ever give it free turns, it could potentially set up a substitute in your face, and that's not good either. So I think, to reiterate one more time, speed control, intimidate, and resisting Steel. I think those are the big things, and I think it'll help you beat Zacian. It's not the greatest answer, believe me, but I think it's enough that you can find your way to beat Zacian. One quick note, I also think Fake Out is a great way to help deal with Zacian. Zacian can't max, so if you actually lead a Fake Out Pokemon, such as Rillaboom or Incineroar, Zacian really struggles. So I think Fake Out is another really, really good way to help slow down Zacian's onslaught. So let's talk about some partners. I think teammates for Zacian are rather simple. I think he partners well with anything. But I want to specifically note that Zacian partners incredibly well with Pokemon who want to Dynamax. So Pokemon like Moltres or Landorus or Charizard, Lapras, just really just Pokemon who are really focused on maxing. Because Zacian himself can't max. So your legend can't max, which is a big deal, and I think that is one of the nerfs to Zacian, if you will. This Pokemon's still insane, but it's one of the ways that slows Zacian down. So I think dedicating a Mon to maxing, even like Regigigas and stuff, like just having a Mon that's dedicated to maxing is really imperative to the Zacian team, because you're going to want to max something that game. As for partners, I also think supportive Pokemon such as Landorus or Incineroar, like just intimidating them or setting up airstreams with Moltres, just having that speed control, just having an all-around solid team is usually what makes Zacian thrive. But I think a huge focus on having Dynamax Pokemon next to Zacian is a big deal. Even Thundurus is a great partner as well, because it deters Intimidate. So I think there's a lot of options, and I think that's what makes Zacian so good. Its typing is so good, and it can kind of slot into any team and fit in any way you want to on a team, because it's not the center of attention. It's not a Xerneas, you know? So it's a little bit less of a focus for your team building. So in conclusion, I think Zacian is incredibly good, and I think it is the best legend going into Series 8, but I think it is manageable purely because it can't max. I think that's a really important thing when combating Zacian, but I also think it does allow you to have meaningful ways to combat it, such as fake outs, such as speed control, trick room, even just max moves as well. There's a lot of ways to help set up against Zacian to slow Zacian down, because it can't max. It does a ton of damage to the max, but it can't max. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys have found your new Wolf Master and you're going to obey Zacian until the end of time, because I think this thing is broken and you should definitely try it out. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe. I love you guys. Have a good one. Bye.